Disney dad is being hailed a hero, but could there be more to this story? I don't know. Let's talk about it. Hey, what's going on, Adventure Fam? Hope you're doing well. We just got back from Branson a couple of days ago. It was a great family vacation. Those videos are going to be upcoming here this week. So if you want to know all about our trip to Branson, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. But today, different story. We want to talk about the Disney dream. And, if you haven't been living under a rock, you've probably heard that a couple of days ago, a 5-year-old girl fell off of the Disney dream, off of the fourth deck. And I kind of want to talk about this story and just I know there's a lot of YouTube videos out there about it and things like that. I just kind of want to put my 2 cents out there about it. Whether you care about my 2 cents or not, I kind of want to just throw it out there and talk about a couple of storylines and a couple of news breaking things that have come out as of an hour ago as well, and debunking rumors and things of that nature. So a couple of days ago, Disney Dream sailing on a short 4-day sailing. 5-year-old girl goes overboard. Dad, having the instincts that he does, we dads like to tend to think ourselves as Superman. Jumps overboard off the fourth deck to go save his daughter. Amazing, awesome job. Jumps in, grabs his daughter. Disney does an amazing job. They call man overboard. They dispatch the rescue boats, the whole bit. And both dad and daughter are rescued, brought back to the ship safely, which is amazing, awesome story. We love to see stories like this because falling off a cruise ship, while it's not uncommon, while it's common, it's not uncommon, right, so to speak. So it happens more than we think, just not with 5-year-olds. You just never hear of 5-year-olds falling off of cruise ships, and there's a couple of reasons for that, and we'll talk about a couple of those reasons. But dad, daughter were brought back safely. Amazing. And look, immediately everybody's hailing dad as a hero. Hero dad jumps overboard to save his 5-year-old daughter. I like to think, I've actually thought about this scenario, to be honest with you, because we have a 6-year-old. And she's 6 now. Adeline, she was 5, she was 4 when we've been on cruises. So I've thought about this exact scenario. If something were to happen, would I jump overboard, right? Because, my dad instincts in me would think, yes, 100%. I'd rather try to save her and, have myself perish than to try to have her. So anyway, dad does that. He's hailed a hero, rightfully so, right off the bat, right? Because, right, he jumped in to save her. And so, but immediately, right, people start wondering, and if you've ever been on a cruise, you know this, right? How does a 5-year-old, and we've got a 6-year-old, how does a 5 and 6-year-old, how do they even fall off the ship? How do they even get over the railing, right? That was my first thought, is like, how does this even happen? Because we've been on cruises, we know how high those railings are, right? Things like that. It's very difficult to fall off of a cruise ship. Very difficult. You have to really be trying for the most part, right? And so that was the initial story. And so rumors started coming out about how this dad had placed his 5-year-old on the balcony railing, or not on the balcony railing, but just on the railing to take a photo, or he was holding his daughter to take a photo and she slipped, things like that. And we've heard those stories before in the past, unfortunately. So this rumor starts flying around, and immediately everybody's like, how's this guy a hero? He should have never been in that situation in the first place. You're placing your kid on a railing on a cruise ship. Who does that, right? All this stuff. Vilifying this individual. And so rightfully so, right? Because if those rumors were to be true, right, you shouldn't be hailed a hero. It should have been all to avoid it, or you should have been avoided, right? The situation should have been avoided. So anyway, as of an hour ago, the sheriffs came out and said, hey, look, further investigation, the dad was not holding the child. The dad did not place the child on the railing, and the child did not fall off for that reason. However, they do state that the dad and the mom were playing shuffleboard, and the 5-year-old was climbing on the rail and, fell overboard by climbing on the rail. There was little things that they could put their feet on to climb over, right? Things like that. So look, I'm not going to vilify anybody, but look, we've got a 6-year-old, we've got a 5-year-old, we got 3 older kids. Like, we know where they're at all times. Like, and especially on a cruise ship, things like that, we are watching them like hawks, right? You just never know what's going to happen. So even if mom and dad were playing shuffleboard, and we've played shuffleboard with our kids on cruise ships, if this is true, while it's certainly not placing your child on the railing, it begs the question of, where were your eyes in conjunction to your 5-year-old? Because even playing shuffleboard, like, you should have a visual on your 5-year-old. And the moment they start trying to do something that might endanger them, right? It should be, right, you're pulling them away and you're kind of talking to them about it. So that's kind of the news story that's out now, is that the child was, climbing on the railing while the parents were playing shuffleboard, and the child went overboard. Now, if this is deemed to be true, again, not that I want to vilify anybody, but again, this is parenting responsibility. When you are on a cruise ship, when you have little ones, when you have teens, we're worried even about our teens goofing off and unintentionally doing something. It's just I don't understand these situations, and I've never been in these situations, thankfully, and I hope I'm never in these situations. And I'm not here to condemn or vilify or anything like that, but it does beg the question of, how does that even happen? While you might not be setting them on the railing, how does it even happen that your 5-year-old's climbing high enough on those cruise railings without you seeing it for them to be able to fall overboard? It just begs the question of where your eyeballs were at. Were you too focused on your shuffleboard game that you lost sight of your 5-year-old on this massive ship in the middle of an ocean? And if that's the case, the parents should share some responsibility and blame in this. And I'm sure if that's what happened, I'm sure they are kicking themselves for it. But at the same time, it's just one of those things. You can't take your eyes off of kids. We live in Arizona, for example, and all too often do we hear about kids drowning in pools. And my wife and I, Sarah, we just look at each other like, how does this even happen? We know where Adeline is at all times. Like, if it's quiet in our house for more than 2 minutes, we're asking, hey, where are you? Because we know something's probably not up, right? She's probably getting into something she shouldn't. So we see it all too often with pools and backyards, things like that, where we just don't understand it. And so same thing here at Disney Cruise Line. Now, here's what I hope doesn't happen. What I hope doesn't happen is, because there's going to be some money-hungry attorneys out there that are going to come out and say, Disney Cruise Line, if that child was climbing, they should have those balcony, or they should have those railings to where nobody can climb on anything. You shouldn't be allowed to place your footing on something. You shouldn't be, and Disney's going to get blamed for this happening if this is in fact the case, which I don't think is right. Look, in the end, if this is what happened, the parents are 100% at fault for not watching their child and the child going overboard. I'm glad that the child is okay. Glad the dad's okay. I'm glad they rescued her, and I'm glad but it sounds like it's a situation that could have been avoided, is all I'm trying to say. So I don't know what your thoughts are on this. That's my thoughts. Leave your comments down below. You can hate my comments. You can like my comments. I don't care. Those are just my thoughts. A lot of times these things can be avoided. So we actually have a cruise coming up in August, and look, we'll be watching Adeline like a hawk. We just do. And so you just never know. So let me know your thoughts down below on this Disney Cruise Line incident. I would love to hear your kind of what your take is on this. But again, there's more news breaking stories coming out about this thing, but it has been debunked that the dad did not put the child on the railing, which is you're glad to hear, but it still doesn't, I think, nullify kind of the behaviors if the child was able to climb over without the parents watching. That's all I'm saying. So hope you guys are doing well. We've got a Branson series coming out, and I'm going to talk all about Branson. Is it worth going? We're going to compare Branson to Pigeon Forge in Gatlinburg in Tennessee. Similar kind of theming and idea. So I want you to go ahead and hit subscribe if you want to hear all about that. And hope you guys are doing well. And have a great day. Have a great week. And we love you. Peace.